Welcome to Classic Car Cave. Okay, so as you can see, these chrome tops are now been de-chromed and they're back in the copper. So basically what we're going to do is this one has got a slight crack, it had a slight crack in it there, and it is a little too long. So what we're going to do, we've got the pot rivet in the end there. So what we're going to do now is we're going to cut this down. I've got a Dremel. I'm going to cut this off, and then we're going to put a new tab on it there. And similarly on the other side, there's the rings, slot the back in the brass. There's one. I think the other one's over there. Yeah. So that's them back in the brass. We have to make these. You see the little dimples there, so I have to make these, and we have to rough them up because obviously they have to be painted, and we'll clean up the any ends of anything, any problems with it. Again, similar with this one. It's a shame we've had to take the chrome off, but we have to weld them. So again, it's got the pot rivet in just now. We'll drill that back out in a minute, and you can see with this one, this is really scabby. It looks horrible. So we're actually, and you can see it sitting up against the side there. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut this one off and make a new tab so it actually fits in there, and obviously again the same thing on the other side. Then there'll be recoated zinc. I think the zinc coated or whatever it is. I think it's copper, zinc or whatever, and then they put the chrome back on it. So there we are. I'm just going to cut into this now. Dreading it. I don't want to make a cock up. Fortunately though, it is a little bit too long, not too much. But and you can see what we've done there is used epoxy resin, because this all was open. The whole bit was open, and this would just be pushed in at an angle and eventually snap. So we're going to build this up to exactly the right height, or cut it back to the right height, and then we can screw it into the main metalwork of the body. So the new plan for this car is it's going on Wednesday the, what is it, 16th?
16th, I think.
Is it? I think so. Well, Wednesday, so it's next Wednesday. This is Wednesday today, so it's next Wednesday. We've got a week. And the original plan was to take it off and put it onto the jig. And the guy that's doing the job, Zoltan, from Hungary, has come up with a better plan, much better plan. Me and I spoke to him about it, and I think it's a much better way of doing it. And it takes a bit of pressure off us when the car's finished and painted and putting it back on the chassis. So the new plan is we take this car down on my trailer with on the chassis, the doors, bonnet and everything on it. All the spare part, all the parts that are painted there now will go in the back of the van. There. So we'll take the car down with the wings on it, everything on it. And he's got a guy coming up here to pick up a Model T Ford. I don't know what year it is, probably late 20s, 30s, I guess. He's picking up a Model T Ford anyway, and he's got a big trailer. So he's going to take the jig down separately, and we'll take the car down on my, Amir and I will take the car down. And the new plan is, we take it down, he's got a 2-poster lift with the 4 arms on it, the 4 adjustable arms. We're going to then lift up the car, undo all the bolts to the chassis, lift the car up, the shell up, roll the chassis back out, roll that jig underneath it, put it on the jig, do some finishing up work, or his man's going to do some finishing up work around the front, doors, wherever, and then they're going to paint the inside of the car, the underneath of the car on the jig. So all inside will be painted, all inside the bonnet area, or the engine area, engine bay, and all underneath, all completely underneath. Then Amir and I are going to go back down there. We'll probably stay overnight or a couple of nights, and we're going to put the car, the shell, back onto the chassis again, bolt it down for the last time, and they'll paint it while it's on the chassis. And the reason for that is if it's over 300 kilometers to this place, and the roads are not great in Hungary. I have to say we had a problem before with the E-Type where I ripped the exhaust off on a metal bar, and they're horrible roads. really, really poor. And what he's worried about is the paint cracking or whatever, which is a good point. It could stress the car, even though we've got in the centre we've got support bars and everything. So I think this is a much better plan. So they're going to paint it, or do all the work they have to do, paint it, polish it. Put it back onto the chassis, then paint it, polish it, and then we bring it back home as a car that's already put together as far as the shell and the chassis is concerned. So that's the new plan. I think it's probably a better plan. And then when we get back, all we got to do then is bring it back in here and pull it straight on the ramp, because it'll sit on the ramp for some period of time, because we've got to build it all back up again, put it back together. But yeah, so that's the plan. So I'll be taking the cameras down and I'll do some filming while we're doing it. So that'll be an episode for next week. I've made up a couple of little tabs here, brass tabs. I'm going to try and attempt to braise it on here and make it, and clean it all up, make sure it fits on the top of the door, and then we can take it back for a re-chroming. Okay, so you can see I've brazed that little tab on there. And inside, I haven't put too much inside because I don't want to grind it down too much. So what I'll do is I'll clean it up now and see how it looks when it's on the car. I'll just put that rivet in there just to check it out. It all sits nice there. There's where I've brazed it. And there's the new tab there, which is nice and straight. Looks far superior to the way it was. What we'll do now is we'll epoxy this in and get everything nice and clean and straight and keep this. So all I've got to do is drill a hole in that now and then get it redone. Right, now I'll work on the other side. So I've done this one as well now, put a new tab on there, but I've indented it back in quite a way. I actually think that's a better fit there. It's got to be screwed in and pushed down, of course. I think that's a nicer fit. It's getting recoppered now, and then the chrome. We will drill the holes in it first. Into this one's a bit close to the edge, but it is recessed a little bit. Anyway, they're both on. And they look nice. Well, they look better in chrome than they do in copper, but anyway. So another update. So you can see we've put the, what do they call it? Undercoat, not undercoat. It's the word I'm looking for. Body shuts, under seal. You can see we've put it on all the bits that are going on the outside of the car. There's the inner wing. So these are all the panels that we need to get done. And then tomorrow these will be taken down to the lower garage and painted in the same primer white as that. And yeah, so the other wing has got to be done. These two panels, they're going to be just painted white as well. And yeah, and there's the other wing there, but that's got to be finished up tomorrow. We've got to do this. Got to get this area sorted out, so when the ring goes on, it's just on the money. So that's why I made up these things, so we can paint. I have like a little booth in here without too much overspray. And yeah, so we're using the jig as a way of supporting all this stuff. So hopefully these front plinths have to be done as well, and these bits for the boot. That's for the spare wheel, that triangular piece. There's a big metal black handle and thread bar that goes into that to keep the wheel in place. So that's the vacuum tank. There's a few other little bits and pieces, but that's it.